Hello and welcome to PJ's Media Reviews. I'm PJ. I'm here with Sean, and today we're going to talk about Better Call Saul Season 5. This may contain spoilers for Breaking Bad, and of course, it will contain spoilers for Season 5 of Better Call Saul. How's it going, Sean?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. We're both big fans of Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad.
Mm.
What did you think of this past season overall?
It was amazing. That's it's one of those shows where when I watch it, I am convinced this is the best television I will ever see in my life.
I agree. It's some of the best written television, best acted. Uh, There's a podcast with Bob Odenkirk where he talks to Michael Rosenbaum. It's on YouTube, and he talks about the process of filming the show, and it's actually filmed more quickly than say other shows because there's not a lot of practical or visual effects needed. On top of the fact that they do a tremendous amount of rehearsal beforehand, so like they really study their parts. And Bob Odenkirk talked about how much dialogue he can have in any given scene,
Mm.
and how he was just completely like totally dragged out from all the focus on him in the earlier seasons. But I find now the show's evolved into this ensemble piece that includes, Mike Ehrmantraut, Gus Fring, Nacho Varga, and now we have Lalo Salamanca.
Oh my goodness,
It was one of the best villains, I think.
I've ever seen on television.
Exactly, yeah.
Straight up. I love how Gus is almost one of the heroes in this show. Like Gustavo Fring is a villain in Breaking Bad, but here he's almost a protagonist, right?
Well, yeah, I would say he's a sympathetic villain, but
Okay.
because you got to look at it, he is threatening the life of Nacho's father, which is pretty,
Yeah.
pretty low down. And if you look at his history, you look at the the scenes in Breaking Bad when he's just an innocent chicken guy with his lover, and then his lover gets shot right in front of him, and he's kind of under the command, and then he rises through the ranks. Like takes him 20 years or something to get revenge. Yeah, because in 1989 his partner gets killed, right?
Yeah.
Right by Victor Salamanca, and he's like, look at him, and and it takes 20 years. In 2009, I think he ends up killing. Uh, no, Victor kills him.
It's the
Victor sets him up. Gus kills all the other guys. Everybody else basically. Like Balos and the head guy from Scarface. I forget his name.
it's the
He
cat
po-
thing. It's the cat thing that hit me with Gustavo Fring, right?
the cat thing.
Yeah. I think I don't know if it's season two. Sorry, season three or four. But Gustavo Fring is explaining the kind of the revenge that he had on that cat. Um,
Oh yeah, stealing the fruit.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what makes him like so terrifying. That kind of stuff. Everyone is terrifying in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. This universe. I don't know what the universe is called.
And it's interesting for people who are starting out with Better Call Saul and haven't seen Breaking Bad yet, which is very rare. I would say
I think it
if they,
works just as well. I think you can watch it both ways, honestly.
yeah, you can. What's interesting is that when I started watching Better Call Saul, I would go forward and just watch everything that had to do with Mike or Saul or Gus Fring.
Mm.
Like I would kind of skip over the Walter White Jesse parts. You know what I mean? Like kind of like today I watched the flashback scene where where Victor kills Gus's partner, and I also watched there's another scene from a separate episode where Gus goes to that same house in Mexico. It's always that same set where the pool is, in the backyard. It's
Mm.
always those few angles that they use every time they're there in Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. But Gus exacts his revenge by poisoning everybody and almost killing himself in the process. But but it's funny when you look at those scenes, you see that Mike is a lot younger. Like he's visibly younger, and
That's the one thing that they don't seem to care about too much in this.
yeah,
And it's the movie, it's El Camino that really shows that, doesn't it?
yeah, with Jesse, not
Mm.
Jesse.
Not Jesse. Ugh, I
God,
forget.
what's his name?
It wasn't Fargo.
Yeah,
The captain of the USS Callister.
yes,
Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons. That's the actor's name.
Yeah. So it is. That's the actor.
Todd.
Todd.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to the very beginning of the season,
Okay.
and they do this wonderful thing in this show that's leading up to something pretty cool. I think is the flash forwards with Gene Takovic. That's his alias now.
Mm.
After the events of Breaking Bad,
The black and white moments.
yeah, and go back and watch them consecutively, and it's like a short film, right?
Yeah.
Because they all pick up right where the other one left off. And this one, he in the last one, he's running away from a cab driver from Albuquerque, who he thinks is following him or might, I don't know, rat him out or might be an assassin or something. I don't know what he thinks this guy is, but he knows he's trouble. And then he kind of goes away for a bit, hides out, and then when he goes back to work, he comes across his cab driver, and he's trying to get him to say like "Better Call Saul," admit who you are, basically. And this the guy, I don't, the name escapes me, the actor. He's been in a few things, but this is probably like one of the best moments, just acting wise, in the season, is his intimidation, and you don't know if he's a weirdo or uh, a cop or what he is and what he's doing. Like you have no idea, but you know he's trouble, and you know Gene or Jimmy has to deal with him. And I love that
Jimmy
moment when it
Jimmy Gene Goodman.
Jimmy Gene Goodman. Yeah, I love that moment when he calls the guy, the guy at the vacuum cleaner store.
Mm.
The actor's passed away since. That was like
Yeah.
the last thing he ever did was
Mm.
El Camino and
El
Better Call
Camino, I
Saul.
think, was the last his last appearance before, and the movie was dedicated to him, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah. But he's like, I'll take care of it myself.
He's the guy from Pulp Fiction.
Yes. No, no, not Pulp
No, not
Fiction.
oh, sorry,
Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I. Yeah. That he's
I
an
forget his
interesting
name.
character.
I forget his name, but yeah, he was an interesting character for sure.
So he's gonna take care of himself. He's gonna go and kill that guy or something. I guess. What do you think's gonna happen?
I don't know. I got no clue. Like every scene is fascinating in Better Call Saul. Like even the most mundane things and these kind of interactions are amazing. Like the just as you put it, like the intimidation was it was
And
you really don't know
and the
what.
attention to detail too, with the camera angles and the close ups and the two shot, but like he's leaning into him and the camera's like right in his face, as you know, like the guy's right in Jimmy's face.
You're put in the position you are Jimmy, right? You're sitting
Yeah,
there and you're like, who is this guy? Is he a cop? Is he just an asshole? Is he gonna talk to someone? Was he paid to come? You don't know what's going on, and you're terrified.
yeah.
Um,
And there's the guy standing in the back.
like the muscle or
Yeah,
the idiot friend. What is he?
yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. Like they set it up in a way where you're really not sure, and I'm almost thinking that he's gonna go after this guy, and this guy's just gonna be some innocent dude. You know what I mean? It's going to be his paranoia that and his need for excitement and conflict and drama is
well,
going to.
that's the thing. You don't know whether or not you're paranoid or not. It's brilliantly done.
Yeah, that's it's very well done. So he's changing it. Okay, last season was all about him not being a lawyer
Mm,
and him doing community service and getting into the phone business with the burner phones and all this.
mm.
And he actually uses all the leftover phones, I guess, to his advantage this season when he becomes Saul Goodman. Uh, that whole thing about where he sets up the tent and he's given his pitch and he's giving out the phones and he's in full Saul Goodman mode right away.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking like, wow, they're really jumping into this, right? The whole Saul Goodman thing. But the season doesn't evolve that way. That's just a minor setup for more interesting things. And they have these two guys. They're like Badger and Skinny Pete ripoffs. Who's 50% off guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, those
The
they
guys
were
that run amok in town, the guys that crash the car and do all the, I don't know what they do. They go to all
I, c-
those minor crimes or whatever it is.
mm. I know it's played for comedy, but I kind of like that they put it in there because it shows his his uh his ambulance chasing Slippy. What is it? Slipping Jimmy. Chuck used to call him
Yeah, I think that slipping Jimmy. I think it.
Slipping Jimmy. Yeah, those kind of ways do have consequences, and as we see throughout the season, his ways actually do have consequences on Kim,
Mm,
and she has a very very interesting
he's
character arc.
dragging her down.
Yeah,
He,
and
I
it's like
didn't expect that.
the more she tries to get control of the situation, the more out of out of her hands it is basically.
But she's amazing though. Like,
Yeah.
well, it is skipping ahead to the end of the season, but the way
Oh
she
no, no.
handles the situation,
Yeah,
yeah,
with Lalo,
yeah, it makes you think like, what if she were to be in this underground or in this crime world, right? She could run things, right?
and she's in the game now.
Yeah,
Uh, that makes me think about Mike because
like
he's still not over the death of his son and whatever, right? And he flips out
hmm.
at his granddaughter, and he
That was a bit
eventually,
strange. That was the one thing I think in this season that had me. So I don't know if it's on a personal level that I was, because it is supposed to hurt you to see him like this and to see
yeah,
him take it out on his granddaughter, right? You're not supposed to enjoy that.
no.
And so I don't know if it's just that, if it's just my personal like feelings, or if it is maybe it was, I don't know if it was maybe awkwardly set up where it came out of nowhere and then it left. I don't know. I don't know. That was the one thing that kind of bugged me this season.
Well, the everything leading up to that, you got to realize last season he killed Werner,
Yeah,
which it took a toll on him like he didn't expect, and he's I think in his mind, and he doesn't say this out loud, but I get the sense from the character in the beginning of the season he wants out almost just as bad as Nacho does, but he's just not saying anything, and he's thinking about his son Matty, who was an innocent person who got dragged into corruption and went against it and got and paid the price, and he's having regrets and he laments like the fact that he has to do certain things, and he does want out, and he has that conversation with Fring, and he and part I think part of why he gets mad at the kid is because internally he's just so fucked up and he doesn't realize that he's so emotionally unstable right now he can't even be around his own family. And I like that conversation when he comes back. He talks to his daughter and he's like, you know what, I'm all right now, and
I played the
she's
card that
like,
I
what
was dealt.
changed? Yeah, I love that line. One of the best lines in the season.
That was good.
Yeah.
I like that.
And he has an interesting character arc. Like they're really getting into like, and even Nacho, you're very sympathetic to him now, especially that his father is in danger, and that whole thing about what did you think about? Do I know it's hard to. What do you think about Nacho in general?
I think he's amazing. I'll tell you what. Nacho's a character they created and introduced in Better Call Saul, right? Um, and for the longest time, I had managed to convince myself that he was in Breaking Bad. I don't know why. For like 2 3 seasons there, I was like, oh, this guy, I kept on trying to think of the scenes that he was in Breaking Bad, but then I came to the realization, I was like, he's not in any scenes of Breaking Bad because he's not in it. He's just in Better Call Saul, but I immediately loved this character. I immediately loved him and all of the interactions and his ties to the Salamanca kind of cartel. Um, and I think that his I don't know if like there's no one that I really relate to, I guess, in Better Call Saul, but you feel his pain, right? You feel his struggle.
I
You
actually find
feel.
it's funny you say that. I find him to be the most relatable character out of
I was gonna
anybody.
say if there were one person that you could relate to in this kind of situation, it would be him.
You know
Uh,
who he feels like in the show? He feels like the audience member
yeah, kind
who
of.
who
I
who's
think it's a
who's
season four sequence when the Salamanca cousins there's the shootout and he's involved in it. You're so terrified
and he's one of
as
the
soon
few
as he gets
characters
shot.
that has yeah, the shootout with the twins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good scene. That was really good. That's one of the better moments in the show, action wise.
Mm. I love the character. I love Nacho so much. Um, and I love the actor too. I forget his name at the moment, but every time I see,
Michael Mando, I think.
uh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Michael
Michael
Mando,
Manta. When I saw him pop up
Spider
in
Man.
Spider Man, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. I was so happy.
He's Scorpion. They should really use him in that. I
They
don't
should
know why.
really use him. They've got these brilliant actors. Everyone is amazing in Better Call
But
Saul. They're
well,
all exceptional actors.
Michael Keaton as Vulture is in Morbius, so there
Yeah,
could be
I'm
an
intrigued by
appearance.
that. I'm
Yeah,
intrigued by that.
there's an actual Spider-Man universe now that's connected to the Marvel universe. That's like an official thing. That's not official as in an announcement, but that they made, like saying, "Oh, it's all connected." But
Mm.
there's at this point, it's like, fuck it. Who cares? Like they're all making money, man. It's all making them. It's like I scratch my back, you scratch yours. And you know what? Just to get back to Better Call Saul, when I first heard about this show, I heard about like, hey, it's going to be a spin-off of Breaking Bad about the lawyer. I'm like, oh, that's going to be a cool comedy and it might last like 2 or 3 seasons.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like I didn't think of it in terms of what it turned out to be. Such a deep and oftentimes disturbing series. And getting back to Nacho, that part where they take him out of bed and they basically threaten his father.
Oh yeah.
And you know, on top of the fact that he's a double agent, he's basically a double rat. And excuse me,
Yeah, he's from The Departed.
he's from the Departed. You're a rat,
Yeah, rat.
you
Um,
dirty bastard.
he's
Fuck you.
he's amazing. Every decision he makes, you see you see the decision making the process go through his eyes. You know,
Mm,
like you can see it working in his mind. Like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I open the door? Right,
yeah,
the gate.
I never thought much of his character at the beginning of the like when they first introduced him for the first little bit. I was like, this guy, he's gonna die and see. But when especially when he gets, what the point when I started to change my mind on Nacho and really, really start to like him as one of the main characters is when he gets shot
Mm.
by they basically just use him, and it's it's very it's it's even below criminals some points, like how they treat their unders or the people that work for them. And you know what, Gus is doing this thing where he's threatening his father, and remember what happened in Breaking Bad when he threatened Walter White's daughter. That didn't turn out well for him, and I'm glad. Like I'm almost when I watch Breaking Bad again, and I see that whole thing where Walter gets revenge on Gus. I'm gonna be rooting for Walt still. You know what I mean? Like I know, but I understand what you mean. Like Gus is much more sympathetic here, but they did try to make him more sympathetic in Breaking Bad with the whole flashbacks and all
Yeah,
this stuff. But it didn't quite work as well as it does in this show.
yeah. Generally speaking, I'm one of the people that prefers Better Call Saul to Breaking Bad. I know that's still a debate. Just the fact that it's a debate is amazing to me. Just the
Yeah.
fact that there are people out there like me that prefer Better Call Saul, and I think it's in part because Walter White is a villain ultimately, and I love the performance, I love the arc, I love the character, but I don't know. It's strange to say this because Saul Goodman's not a good person, isn't it? Well, I kind of I feel like he is in some way a good person. He's just kind of lost, right? And he's doing his
There's
best.
one
He doesn't really know. It's
there's
the
one
struggle.
good character in the whole show.
It's
There's
Kim, isn't it?
one. No, no, no. There's I believe there's out of the main cast, there's really only one guy. Actually, there used to be two, but now there's only one. But the first guy was Chuck, obviously. He's dead now. And the second is Howard Hamlin. And it's
Yeah,
funny because
Chuck and Howard are kind of just, I suppose, corporate dicks, right? But they're not bad people. They're
but
honest people.
they're the most honest to goodness people in the entire series, two of those characters.
I felt
And
really bad for Howard this season.
I loved his little arc.
I
I
loved
didn't think they did anything with him last season, really. Like,
bowling balls, the prostitutes. I was sad for him.
yeah. I would like how he can when he asked Jimmy the third time, he's like, "Okay, forget about it. The offer's off the table. The offer at HM Hamlin and McGill, blah blah blah." And he's like, "I know what you did. You threw bowling balls and you did the thing with the prostitutes." And this is a moment where Howard is telling the god honest hard truth to Jimmy, and he flips out. Right? He flips out. He has that whole scene where he's like, "Lightning bolts shoot from my fingertips." And then there's another. They use Howard very little, but there's another scene toward the end of the season. I think it's ninth or 10th episode
With
where
Kim.
he with Kim, and
Mm,
he gives her the fucking hard truth, and she's just she knows he's right. She knows, and she plays it so well. Like she laughs. She does that little fake, haha, you ain't getting to me kind of laugh.
mm,
But when he says, there was only one person who really knew Jimmy, and that was Chuck, and everything he says to her is like dead on, and it almost spurs her into this like weird psychosis where she starts joking around, and this is the obviously the very end of the season, where she's uh, talking to Jimmy about trying to get uh, Howard disbarred, and it becomes more and more
she's
serious.
insane.
And by the end, Jimmy's like, he's just he doesn't want to go along with it,
But
and
he was playing around, and then he
Jimmy,
realizes it's destroying the dude's life, right?
yeah, but
That's
it's destroying her. He's realizing like, holy fuck, I've had an effect on her. Like she's becoming me because she turns around and does that gunshot thing to him, right?
I'm
Like
gonna use this and lead into something that I've been wanting to. I know this is already like end of the season kind of discussion, but I want to talk about this because since I've watched this, I haven't had anyone to talk about this with.
go ahead.
Nacho, Kim, Howard. These are characters that we Lalo. These are characters that we don't see in Breaking Bad, and I'm legitimately just I don't know where they're gonna take them. I don't because there's basically three options, right? There's they leave alive, there's they die, or they go into prison. They go to prison. That's it. Those are the
Well,
three options, right?
if you want to know, there are clues in Breaking Bad that give hints to their fates.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
you want to hear them? This
Yeah.
is the one. These are the ones I know of. There could be more. The
Okay.
first, the first clue is that when Jesse encounters Walter and no, not Jesse. When Saul encounters Jesse and Walter in the desert, and they have the masks on, and they're trying to intimidate Saul.
Mm.
Uh, Saul says, "Did Lalo send you?"
Okay.
So that hints at the fact that Lalo is still will still be alive in
All right.
4 years because this is 2004, and Breaking Bad starts in 4 years later,
Yeah.
3.5 say, or 4 years later.
So Lalo's still around at that point.
That's what they hint at. And the second one is that Jimmy says he's been divorced twice. Now, in Better Call Saul, he's already been divorced once. So it implies that him and Kim will get a divorce. and
Okay.
I honestly think she won't die. She'll just go off. She'll probably end up with Howard. Strangely enough,
Do you think she'll in a
I,
relationship,
I
or they'll just leave together? Like fuck this place, fuck this story, and let's
you
leave.
know I think it's gonna play out like she actually tries to go through with this whole thing about discrediting Howard.
And then she realizes like the error of her ways,
Exactly.
and she realizes that Howard was telling the truth and that Jimmy's the bullshitter.
Yeah,
Oh
and
wow!
that
And
that
that breaks Jimmy for good. It makes him snap. That's interesting. Nacho, they're gonna kill Nacho. I hope not. I'm really rooting for the guy. I'm really rooting for him and his father to be able to leave. Right? I want them to go away
I
and live.
think
But his father's not gonna want to leave.
I think one or two. It could okay. It could play out that Nacho's gonna walk in on his dad dead
Oh my god!
or something like that. But I don't
You're
want him to
killing
go
me.
that dark. I want Nacho to be for his story to end with getting in the car and on the highway like Jesse did and going off to like wherever and hiding. Him and his dad go together. Like he saves.
Everyone goes to Alaska.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's a cool like sequel to El Camino. It's like Nacho, Jesse, and Saw, and what is his name? Gene
It,
Takovic, all in Alaska.
it becomes basically Fargo at that point, doesn't it?
Or
Um,
it could become a magnificent three kind of situation where they defend the small Alaskan town from bullies, or oil tyrants with their henchmen and such.
I would watch that.
Yeah, I mean nuts.
The show is okay. I wouldn't say the show is lacking. It's just that I feel the absence of Chuck and that dynamic.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why I thought the fourth season didn't really. It was a good season, but it was a lull in the overall story. I think because he's dealing with Chuck's death. He's not a lawyer anymore. It's like it's and then they're really getting back into the
yeah, I see what you mean. It is part of the story that you needed to tell. Like you can't just have him.
yeah.
When you look at it overall, it really is part
And
of
I'm
it.
not saying the season's bad by any means. I'm saying out of all the fantastic seasons of the show,
Yeah,
all five, I find one and four
yeah. I'd hate to say it.
weakest, even though they're really good.
Yeah,
So
I hate to say it because I was a fan of the show from the get go. But I think the first season is kind of the weakest, and it's the weakest because it is the first, and it comes with those disadvantages. Like there are characters. There's his friend. I forget who he is. There's the friend of Saul Goodman. Um, from his past that comes, and that guy dies. Um, there's all of these. There's the guys that he tries to scam in the beginning. That try to scam him in the beginning. The skateboard guys. There's these characters that kind of don't play into anything, and you don't yet have this bigger world of Gustavo Fring, the Salamancas. You don't have all that going on. You've got a bit of Mike.
yeah,
So I think that's why it's the weakest ultimately. But that's just I kind of like I suppose the reality of being the first season, isn't it?
mm.
I
So
love
this
the show from the get go though. I have a friend that he's the person that made me watch Better Call Saul, and he was in love with Better Call Saul, and he tried. Sorry, he was the person that made me watch Breaking Bad, and he was in love with Breaking Bad, and he tried Better Call Saul and didn't like it, and stopped. Um, and
yeah,
I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I hope he really did pick it up again and started watching again because it's amazing.
yeah, I like the little cameos from Hank Schrader and Gomez. Uh, it's always it's good to see character
It's the guy with the Hummer as well. What was he called?
the Hummer guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a few. There's all of Gus's a few of Gus's henchmen from
it,
Breaking
it,
Bad are in there.
yeah, it's the guy that they go and see like once or twice in Breaking Bad. They ask him to cook at some point. Um,
Oh,
in Better Call Saul, he's selling shit to. He's like the other teacher or something, the other chemist.
Gabriel? No, not Gabriel. Is it the
Uh,
guy that Jesse shoots in the face?
yes, I think so. I forget what he's called. He's the guy. He's the guy that buys this, you know, bright yellow Hummer, but still lives in a shitty apartment.
Oh, the guy
Baseball
with the
cards.
baseball cards. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was a one and done character, wasn't he? He doesn't
No,
really
he
shoot.
was. Well, in
He doesn't.
Breaking Bad, yeah, he's only there once or twice, I think. But
He's in
in
Breaking
Better
Bad.
Call, yeah, they break into his apartment and everything.
No,
Uh,
the guy with the yellow Hummer who Nacho eventually gets it.
hmm.
Right. That all happened in Better Call Saul. I don't remember that character being in Breaking Bad.
I think he is. I really think he is. I think at one point they need someone to replace Heisenberg or something to cook, and they get that guy.
Oh
Maybe I'm
no,
confusing the
no, no!
characters.
You're thinking of the school teacher, not the school teacher, the professor.
Is it not him? Is it not the same?
Gus Fring's apprentice, the guy with the curly hair, who Jesse shoots in the face.
Hmm. Okay, I'm confusing my guys then.
Gale,
Gale.
Gale from Breaking Bad. It makes a cameo appearance in was it this season or last season? Better Call Saul. I don't know, he's not there for very long anyway.
Gale.
The
Oh yeah.
guy,
Okay.
the guy who with the
Yeah.
base
Yeah. Yeah.
stolen baseball cards, he was
Yeah.
just he was just
That's
some
not him.
idiot. Yeah.
He was an idiot. But
The
he's
guy
the
with the stolen baseball cards is only in Better Call Saul. He's not in anything
okay.
else.
Okay, but
I don't think.
his character is mainly a tool for Mike's character to evolve,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
okay, well,
Uh,
see, I got him confused with Gail, the teacher.
okay, so do you think the main driving force for the next season is going to be all about Lalo's revenge? Like everything leading up. Okay, with
I don't think
not
so.
I think
I
he
would
knows
want
that
it to be.
Nacho betrayed him. Obviously, right?
Yeah, I don't want. I love Lalo, and I want to see more of him. I don't want the show to become about Lalo because, from what I understand, season 6 is going to be the last, right?
Yeah.
Um, I don't want the show to become about Lalo and Lalo's revenge and to finish on. I really still want it to be about Saul Goodman, um, and how he becomes Saul Goodman. Lalo, if it's part of it, that's cool. Um,
Yeah. So Mike gets him arrested, and
mm,
even from prison, he's still trouble. And then the funny thing is, uh, when Saul goes to pick up the money for him, the cartel sent by Balos thinks if they stop the Jimmy, then that would work to Gus's advantage, but they don't know that Gus secretly is wanting uh, Lalo out of prison so he can go back to Mexico so he can assassinate him. Because he can't assassinate him in America or in prison in America because he would be the prime suspect. But if he goes back to Mexico, he has a lot of enemies, and therefore he couldn't pin it on Gus necessarily. And that kind of complex level of storytelling is fucking awesome. And it all makes sense when you really think about it. Like it's one of these shows. The more you watch it, you start understanding things that you missed, like all these little intricate like details. Right?
it is very, very, yeah, intricate.
You,
It's really well written. It's
you
pieced
will
together in a way that I haven't seen many shows do.
you will find some newer shows like Star Trek that kind of the more you watch it, the more you get annoyed because you realize how progressively stupid it's becoming because it's so simple and brain dead and not well thought through, and it's kind of like throw everything at the wall, see what sticks kind of storytelling.
Well, it's interesting because I used to kind of I used to accept that Star Trek had like Star Trek because we're both fans of it. And there are other franchises that we could use examples, but Star Trek has a huge and very long history to it. And so I used to kind of excuse certain things in the way that, oh, well, it's hard to keep up with everything that goes on. But then you get shows like Better Call Saul. It granted Breaking Bad and its universe isn't as long lived as Star Trek, but it's very complex, and there's a lot of things going on. And you're doing a prequel, and everything ties in so well together. Everything works. Like the only issue with Breaking Bad universe, I suppose, is the age of the actors and their physical appearance.
Yeah,
Um, and, and then I could cite another show, which is the Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance, which is a prequel to the Dark Crystal the movie, and it's an amazing show. There's only one season out for the moment, and it's just impeccable and amazing. And they respected the aesthetics of the original movie, and they respected the story.
yeah,
Yeah, I am amazed at how well thought out some shows are, and yeah, some of them are kind of just yes, see what sticks, as you say.
yeah. Well, I didn't mean to be trashing on all of Star Trek, just the latest stuff, which is what I call just like it, it's hard to describe.
It
It's
isn't
just
a
kind
Star
of
Trek specific problem though either, is it?
it's a show. It's the newer like Discovery I like well enough, but like a show like Picard, which is incredibly misguided in a lot of areas that I won't get into, but it's like a lot of money and a lot of resources and a lot of people work on this stuff very hard and put their everything into it. But if there isn't a singular vision like what you get with Vince, I was going to say Gillingham, Vince
Gilligan.
Gilligan,
Yeah.
Vince Gilligan, he knows what's up. Even if I think he's one of these writers, he's like, well,
He's not alone though.
you know what? Even if I'm not sure, I'll figure it out. Like he's like, oh, I know, I have a bit of an idea where the characters are going. Well, he obviously won't say anything, but it's hard to know. He's kind of ambiguous in that way when you see him in interviews.
there's
It's like,
there's two of
does
them
he have it
though,
all figured out?
isn't there? There's he's not the only guy. I think.
Yeah, he's the main guy though.
Okay, isn't there
There are-
Peter something?
yeah, there are other writers and stuff. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
I think it's created by two people.
Uh, where is it? There we go.
Hmm.
It's created by Peter Gould. Yeah, and it's yeah, Peter Gould. And I think most episodes are written by Vince Gilligan.
I don't think he writes everything,
Not everything, no.
but
Why can't I get this information?
you know for sure the same way Noah Hawley does Fargo. Vince Gilligan and maybe Peter Gould here. They're doing Breaking Bad. Like they have a very specific vision for what they want to do. You can tell that each season is like I would say improvised.
Yeah.
You can tell that every season of Better Call Saul is kind of, oh, we should do this, we can do this, we can do that, but it is so well constructed, so well pieced together. It's incredible.
Wait, are you saying you think some of it's improvised and not planned out? I
I
didn't
think
quite catch that.
well, yeah, no, I think that like when they did season 1 or 2, they had no idea that they were going to say introduce Lalo as a big character later on. Like I don't think that was necessarily planned. Maybe I'm
Okay,
wrong.
I'm looking at the written by each episode is written by different people. Like the first episode is Peter Gould, Allison, Tatlock, and Cherkis, Gordon Smith, like all different people.
Okay.
So that's pretty impressive, and some are repeating throughout the seasons.
Yeah,
But
well, they probably have a tight writers' room, and
yeah,
yeah.
it's probably not chaos like some other writers' rooms where they're like, "Listen to this, listen." Oh shit, shut up! No, man.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I,
Even if it is chaos, what they're pumping out is amazing. So it's working.
I can imagine in a show like this, it's probably more laid back and more intellectual. Like how, what would happen? They kind of like if they propose a change to a character or something that happens to a particular character, they not only just say, "Okay, let's do this to the character. It's
Yeah.
going to change his life," but they think, "What would this mean so many years down the road?" Because Breaking Bad is always in the foreground. You know what I mean?
Mm. Well, that's the thing with, and I think that it's not just Better Call Saul. Breaking Bad did this from the get go. Breaking Bad, these are shows that they really want to simulate real life, what would happen in real life. So everything that happens has to be completely believable. Um, Not only the events but the characters. With I think the exception of the death of Fring, that's maybe the one thing that stretched like um, realism a bit.
Yeah, that was a bit over the top.
That was a bit. I've never been a fan of that specific moment, but yeah, no, it really like watching Breaking Bad. That's why you get these long dinner scenes or these long moments where it's just people sitting around or chilling or whatever because they want to really have you believe it takes place in real life. And so when someone points a gun at someone in this universe, it's threatening.
Yeah,
In other TV shows, people are pulling out guns and people are threatening. Like you do this all the time. There's no threat. I'm not intimidated, right? But in this show, it is when shit's going down, you're terrified.
yeah,
When the thing happens in this season at Lalo's place, I was on the edge of my seat.
yeah. And he's a very good. He plays that character very well because
Oh yeah,
you know, he's always like you never know quite what he's thinking or if he's gonna like look at you and then like just smile and like there's an example early on when he's when Gus is taking him down in the basement where he's gonna build a meth lab and Lyle's like, yeah, it looks okay to me. Like obviously it's not okay, and you know what I mean. Like he knows, and even when Kim is chewing him out at the end, right? And I think it's episode 9
yeah.
before he goes back to Mexico. Oh no, he was gonna go back, and then he discovered the car, and that's why he comes back and questions Jimmy. And then she flips out at him. She's like, "If you can't trust your own men, you got you don't have to worry about Saul Goodman. You know,
That was
get
amazing.
your shit in order." And you don't know if he's gonna like just fucking kill her right there and then, or smile at her and say okay, and like walk out the door. You know, you don't know. It's and you know, Mike doesn't know either. He's there like put the phone down where I can, you know, so I can fucking sniper rifle this fucker if he tries to kill you.
It's so well written, but it's also so well performed, right? You genuinely don't know what these characters are gonna do when you're watching it. You're observing them, and you're just like you're freaking out.
And you know what? Mike's like Saul's, well, Jimmy's guardian angel this season with the sniper rifle. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
know, he's looking. I know it's like a business interest kind of thing, but I think part of him kind of cares about Jimmy.
I think he does. I genuinely think they have this kind of relationship where I would say Mike cares more about Jimmy than Jimmy cares about Mike. Um, but I think Mike kind of feels for this guy because from season one they've been like intertwined in these kind of bullshit little stories here and there,
Yeah.
and I think Mike's just like this guy, right? He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He doesn't know who he's messing with.
Mike keeps getting tangled up with him against his will. He's like, "Oh, this guy again."
This guy again. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty.
I was a bit surprised this season didn't complete construction on the basement, right?
Well,
On the lab.
well, when we see it in Breaking Bad, it's like 4 or 5 years later. So
Yeah. But I was expecting this to they kind of dropped that whole storyline actually, didn't they?
Well, no, well, actually, they can't because as long as Lalo is around, they're
Mm,
doing. He's building this thing under the nose of everybody.
yeah,
His plan,
the
his plan,
cartel, the
his
authorities.
plan. Yeah, his plan is to, and he kind of accomplishes most of it in Breaking Bad, is to rise and take them all out and become the kingpin, basically, right?
Mm. Oh, that's right. We got the Hank and his partner cameo this season, didn't we?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good. It's cool to see them, even though visibly they're like 10 years older. But whatever, who cares?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They'll do some face shit technology in 10 years to fix all that.
I was gonna say, but why didn't they
Some
do that?
some
Well,
user will, some person will put it out by themselves. It's like, you
yeah.
ever see the videos of Tom Welling in Man of Steel? Pretty good.
Oh, really?
It's pointless, but it's interesting. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, look, that's his face, and it's like it's crafted very well. Like, some people are getting really good at the whole deep fake thing.
Um, the only one that really bugged me was Todd in the movie.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't like it feels like he's aged so much. But then it was strange
he's like, I
because
got stung by a couple of bees, and I'm allergic.
like coming out of Breaking Bad, coming out of the end of Breaking Bad, Todd was a kid to me. Like he feels like well, to me, I felt like he was like a 25 year old dude in Breaking Bad, and then straight out of that, I watched
He's 47.
yeah, straight out of that, I watched him appear in what was it, Fargo, and he looked way older in
Mhm.
Fargo straight away, and I was baffled. I thought it was like his older brother or something. I was like, oh my god, but it was him.
Yeah.
Mm.
Huel Babineau makes another appearance uh, at the wedding, and I love that they include him sometimes because he's another actor who looks very different in Breaking Bad than he does in Better Call Saul. But that's okay anyway, because whatever, who cares?
What did you think of Kim's whole thing with
Oh yes, that whole thing we didn't talk about, Mesa Verde.
Mesa Verde and the one dude that doesn't want to leave his house, um, and that whole thing, right? She gets upset with the guy, and then there's the thing with her boss.
Tackerman, Tackerman,
Mm.
his name. Hold on, I'll,
The
I
whole
can.
thing is very compelling to me. I'm very interested by every single plot line that kind of develops and unfolds in this show. Um,
Everett Acker, and that actor who plays him, man, I forget. I'm not gonna bother to look up his name, but anyway, he's great. And when Jimmy wins him over, he's like, "This is a picture of a man fucking a horse," and Jimmy's like, "Exactly."
oh my god. Uh,
I love Jimmy's character. Well, the character of Saul overall as the lawyer, because he reminds me so much of the '90s lawyers I used to see on TV growing up. Like, I'll fight for you, like the ambulance chasing fuckers who like were loud and like in your face with the shitty actors and the piss poor commercials.
yeah.
I'll be back in like 1 second. Just give me 1 second, and I want to end it off talking about the whole thing, which I thought was the best scene, the best highlight of the season.
Oh,
You know what
okay.
I'm talking about? Yeah, hold on 1 second. I can edit all this anyway. It doesn't matter.
All right.
Just gonna let my cat in. Okay, before I talk, I wanna make sure I know what episode that was. Okay, it's all right. Let's have. Okay, hold on. Wexler and Goodman. All right, let's kind of wrap this up now with what I don't know if you agree, Sean, but I think it's the best episode of the season. That's episode 6, Wexler versus Goodman, and it's really where everything's, in my opinion, starts to fall apart because that's the episode where at the end she's like, "Let's get married," and it's more for the fact that to give her control over the situation, so that and to force Jimmy to be, completely honest, so that she can't, be forced to testify against him. So,
Mm.
and she really gets angry at him because he basically makes her the sucker for his con. And what did you think of the? Okay, hold on.
Did we get is that the episode where we got the Kim backstory?
Um, I think so. Hold on. Yeah, the one where she's talking to her. Yes, in the flashback where her mother's like, "Get in," and she won't get in the car because her
Yeah.
mother was drinking.
Mm.
Yeah, that's yeah. I forgot, completely forgot about the. Yeah, it's a pretty cool flashback. It's like, why are they showing this? And you, I think it's meant to show Kim's independence and the fact that she wants control over her situation.
Yeah, how she likes to take control.
And the actor who plays Kim, god damn, why am I forgetting her name?
Rhea Seehorn.
Yeah,
I want her as my first officer Andorian on my Star Trek show.
I want her as a captain of a
All right,
fucking
okay,
goddamn Enterprise or some shit because
Captain.
she,
I want her as an Andorian though.
yeah. Well, I could see that. Yeah,
She's amazing.
she's a pretty she's great at subtlety because a lot of her acting or some of her best acting is reaction to what Jimmy or somebody else is saying to her. And I like how in this season she's kind of acquiescing to Jimmy's kind of ways to the point where she's changed by it.
Well,
And
she's really evolved from the kind of I want to build my law firm thing that they wanted to do for a time, like together. They're gonna open the office together, this and that, and what have you.
yeah,
They've really
and
changed.
she goes as far because she's trying to deal with Ackerman, and she goes as far as to like attempt to blackmail uh, her her client, and she kind of backs out of it because Jimmy's going to make this like skating commercial, and she's like, "No, I don't want to do this." And Jimmy's like, "Okay," but then he does it anyway,
I wonder
and
about
that's
the legality of all that, though. Like in real world, would any of that go? Would that fly? Would that
no,
work?
it wouldn't work. But the beauty of it is that he's admitting that it won't fly. He said, "But just the me attempting to do this will fuck you up so bad." You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like legally, you will win in the end. He admits that, and they're even saying, "Oh well, this won't fly. We'll get it here." He's like, "Okay, maybe not, but some news organization will pick it up and
Yeah,
run it
put
for
you over.
free." That's crazy, and I think that's the most intense. That's almost like a season finale climax. That whole scene.
That moment in the office, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a conference room. In the,
and the guy who plays Kevin, he's so good at playing the stubborn. Like all the actors are so great, and he's just beaten down, and Jimmy completely owns him at the end. And he's not meaning to hurt Kim, and he talks her down, and then they get married, and then they have that whole honesty policy, and he still doesn't tell her about the shooting until
oh,
the very end.
oh, you're just screaming at your screen. You're like, just tell her. She's gonna find out you got shot, right?
And the fact
Shot
that
at.
she's on Lalo's radar now because she visited him, and I love how Mike
That was so
reacted.
ballsy of her.
Yeah, I like how Mike reacted to that information when they're in the desert trying to survive, and he's like, "Yeah, Kim's gonna think I got a bullet in my head or something," and he's like, "She knows. She's in the game now." Like, that's great. Like, he's actually genuinely concerned for this innocent person, and he and that connection, that whole thing with his son, is a big motivation for that. Like,
Well, he's trying to deal with Nacho's situation, right?
yeah, he's sympathetic toward Nacho as well. He's kind of like,
And now he realizes that fucking Saul Goodman's got his wife involved with this, or his wife has got involved on her own.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
and he's so concerned that he's actually, he's up there on the roof with the sniper rifle, looking out, tracking Lalo's movements and stuff, which he's supposed to do anyway. But he
yeah.
really does.
I did wonder though if it was out of genuine worry for Saul Goodman, or if like would he have
Maybe it was
done
more for Kim. Maybe it was more for the innocence of, he
it?
thinks Kim
Was
is
it not
totally
just
innocent.
his job to go and check? Like Lalo came back into the country, we got to watch what he's doing.
Yeah, that is definitely that's his job. Yeah, like, but I think a part of him really wants to
Right.
have he doesn't want Jimmy to get hurt, obviously, but I think to
So
when he
wait,
finds out about Kim, he's probably a little more concerned about her at that point.
so wait a minute.
When
Like, they say Lalo kills Kim. That
Yeah,
doesn't affect Fring in any way. Like that doesn't affect his Fring situation. But if Mike all of a sudden decides to snipe, like he decides to shoot Lalo in order to protect either Jimmy, either Kim, like that creates a situation, doesn't it?
yeah, and I think you know thinking I think maybe Mike was supposed to be there to keep an eye on Lalo, but I don't think he was necessarily ordered by Gus to point a sniper rifle at him and possibly kill him if he tries anything.
Mm,
Maybe that was his decision because Mike, got that independent mind. And when he's obviously sent by Gus to protect Jimmy when he transports the money,
mm.
which is actually supposed to be a favor to Gus. That's the ironic thing about it, right? You find out later that Balos sent them the hell, like, to take the kill Jimmy basically and take the money. And Mike and Gus didn't want that, and they really couldn't say it because of their secret plans. And but yeah, there was definitely I think Mike has some kind of affection for like the innocent. Like, he has sympathy for Nacho, but when he finds out about Nacho's dad, he's even more concerned. It's like he's probably a little bit concerned for Jimmy. Then he finds out about Kim, and then he's a little anti-hero, I guess.
Yeah, kind of.
He's the best character in the show if you really think about it. The
He's
one you
great.
root for the most.
He's great. I'm very happy that they did this. I mean, now we have a full cast that we follow, and
Yeah.
all these different storylines. It's not just Bob Odenkirk and Jimmy. Um, but Mike was great. It was a great idea to develop Mike more because he is
And
a character in Breaking Bad.
who you can thank for the creation of Mike?
Who's that?
How I Met Your Mother.
Really?
Because when Bob Odenkirk was filming Breaking Bad, he had a guest. I think he was on a few episodes or something. I
No,
don't know.
He was Ted. He was Ted's boss for a while in How I Met Your Mother.
Okay,
He's the guy
yeah,
that ends up sleeping alone in the office or some shit because his
I
wife.
don't know. I've never seen How I Met Your Mother. I have no interest in ever watching it because I don't know how that guy becomes Bob Saget. But anyway, uh, does Bob Saget do the voice of the older guy in that? Is that the show I'm thinking of?
I don't think
There's
so.
there's a voiceover of like he's like narrating the past of How I Met Your Mother. I don't fucking know. But anyway, Bob Odenkirk.
I think it's the same actor that does Ted that does the voiceovers in How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, really? I don't know.
I'm not sure though. I watched that show, like I watch a few sitcoms. I don't. I'm not fully invested in certain things.
I got to look that up now. It's gonna bug me.
There are
I
certain
can't.
moments in How I Met Your Mother that I find very, very good. I think that it drags on for too long and then it ends not too good. Um, I think it's better than Friends, though. Fight me, people.
Why does he sound like Bob Saget when he narrates? Then why is that weird? I don't know. Probably doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Anyway, the point of the story was
The point is,
Bob,
Seinfeld is better than all of that.
Bob Odenkirk had to do How I Met Your Mother, and he couldn't do a particular episode of Breaking Bad. And I think that's the one where, yeah, actually, it's the one where Mike was introduced. It was supposed to be Saul that goes to Jesse's uh, apartment or house after Jane dies to clean it all up or to help, like to calm him down or something. But then I think they changed it to Mike and cast my God, what's his name? Who
Jonathan
plays Mike?
Banks.
Jonathan Banks. Yeah, they cast Jonathan Banks to be a cleanup man as opposed to Bob Odenkirk as Saul, who
Okay.
couldn't film the episode. That was one of the things I found out in the interview he did with Michael Rosenbaum. I suggest you check that out. It's one of the last podcasts he does where like he's in a room with an actor.
Okay.
And they get really deep into like a lot of shit, man, and they get really into like talking about the acting process and
Hmm.
stuff like that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, how I Met Your Mother is responsible for the creation of the character of Mike.
Well, there you go. What is
Yeah.
Friends responsible for?
Hmm?
I say, what is Friends responsible for? I'm being mean.
We're friends. What's up? I don't know. Yeah, Friends had a spinoff. Remember that one, Joey?
Joey.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was awful.
that was. I'll tell you what.
The show Friends is awful. I don't give a fuck. I
I'll tell
watched
you
that
what.
show when I was a kid,
I prefer
and I was like,
Friends.
what?
I know people will hate me for that. I prefer Joey rather than Friends because Joey was so stupid and so dumb as a show. Not necessarily like well the character, I suppose, yes, but the show was just so stupid
I
that
like
I
Joey's
enjoyed.
sister.
Yeah, I enjoy. And Joey's sister has like a boyfriend, which is like a wacko. Um,
I can't remember that far back.
it was fun. I liked the absurdity of it, the complete stupidity of it. Whereas Friends, I suppose, was still trying to be a show. Whereas Joey was just obviously dumb. It was just dumb bullshit, and I like that.
The best sitcom of all time is Seinfeld.
Yeah, I agree. Seinfeld. Well, I'll tell you what. What we do in the shadows is giving it a run for its money at the moment. I'm loving it.
Yeah, that's a fantastic series.
I I I just love it.
Doug Jones as the Bat King or whatever he is, and he gets drunk and shit, and
Let
he
me
accidentally kills
remember.
himself. Yeah,
Oh my goodness. What
yeah.
we do in the shadows, people, watch it. It's good. I like The
All,
Office. Anyway, this is
all
getting.
this ancillary talk is going to be edited out, so
Oh, okay.
this whole thing is going to end up being like 15 minutes. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Just cut it down. Cut it down. Cut it down.
No. Yeah. So
I
we
don't
covered
know.
pretty much everything.
Do you want to do a conclusion?
Yeah, we should.
I don't know if this is my favorite season of all Better Call Saul. And I don't know simply because, like, when I come out of each season, I'm very hype. Like you say, season four was maybe one of the weakest. I don't necessarily have that um, memory because when I come out of a season of Better Call Saul, like all of the other shows that I'm watching at the same time pale in comparison, right? Like right now, I'm finishing Westworld season three, and it's just the most boring thing I have ever seen. Um, Especially in comparison to like Better Call Saul, which is
You know what?
both shows are very slow paced, and yet one of them is just captivating.
You
Yeah.
know what? You know what Westworld season 3 is to me, and I did watch it after.
Oh, okay. You finished it then.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
and
Did you enjoy the Aaron Paul?
it reminds me of a really depressing song that was used for the marketing of a science fiction film. It was
Okay.
very poor marketing for this science fiction film, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about in a second.
Okay.
And I feel like I was watching each episode of Westworld season three, and the more I watched it, the more the song in my head started playing. I was like, "This is not the end," and it was like this really dramatic, like wow, this is so pretentious and up its own fucking ass, and just so full of itself, but so pretty to look at, so well done, and the special effects, and uh, the camera work when the guy's stoned, when Jesse's stoned,
Yeah,
and he's
that was that
going
was
through.
that was interesting. I really like that concept. The whole genre.
Yeah,
Sure.
but the concept of it and the message of it is way too broad. It's it doesn't really nothing adds up to anything. It's all about like, and the way people act in it don't seem real. Like nothing in they're in the real world obviously, and the real world feels less real than the fucking Westworld did.
Yeah, that's the problem. The problem, they anyway, whatever. Westworld, they took it too far. They took it into some sort of, um, I don't know. I don't like it when we start doing things like the AI that controls the world, that kind of stuff. No, fuck that. It was interesting when it was robots or androids that were becoming sentient. That was good.
Yeah,
Second season was too dumb because it was just fighting, but there was still a few plot, like there were a few reveals, a few twists that we won't get into that were
yeah.
cool. But this one was just a
There
big
was
pile
also,
of nothing dragged on for like 10 episodes.
yeah, and some good action. And I didn't like what they did with some main characters and stuff
Yeah,
like that. What the thing about Westworld is, it's
it
one of
tries to
the.
be more confusing than what it tries to be. It was the I don't know. Was it the Into Darkness of the Westworld show?
I don't know, but it was like it's like that emo kind of feel.
It
Uh,
is.
it's the trailer music they use nowadays, where it's like a classic song, but it's like some breathy Billie Eilish type fucking singing it, like uh, uh, one pill makes you smaller, and it's like somebody dying or like fucking crying or killing themselves in the fucking trailer. Everything's about hanging yourself and just shooting yourself in the head and clawing your fucking eyes out.
Anyway, fuck Westworld. The point is
Fuck Westworld.
the point is Better Call Saul makes all of the other shows kind of seem pale when I come out of it. So when I come out of a season of Better Call Saul, I'd rather just watch something like I'll watch Star Trek the animated series because I find it fun, right? Um, I don't want like another drama or something that I'll compare it to. So I don't know if this season was the best or my favorite. I just know that it was amazing. And I don't even see Better Call Saul so much season per season. I see it just as like a big story unfolding. I can't wait till it ends. I think that when season 6 comes out and like it's confirmed that it's the last season, I think I will watch through all of Better Call Saul again in preparation for season 6. Then watch the sixth season and then go into all of Breaking Bad. I'll do like a whole thing, and I don't do this often for shows. Like this
Yeah.
is mainly a Star Trek thing. I rewatch mainly Star Trek shows. But this I'll do.
I know we both live in Canada, but Netflix in the States, I think, puts Better Call Saul on every week when it airs, if I'm not mistaken.
We get a season, however long after.
We we get the previous season like a week or a month before the new season comes out. So I like that because I always rewatch the previous season right before I watch the new season.
Mm.
Or I think a couple of times like it was late, but anyway, it does come out. They released the whole season like almost a year later or something like that. But yeah, it's a good show to rewatch because everything leads into the next. It all is like a big
And
story,
you
but
don't lose any. Like there are reveals, there are twists and turns, but you don't lose any of it. Know what I
yeah,
mean? It's like I could spoil the next generation, Star Trek: The Next Generation here, and say Captain Picard becomes a Borg drone at some point. I've technically spoiled the story for you, but it doesn't take away from it. Like the emotional weight, and if you start watching Star Trek: The Next Generation now and watch all through, and when you get to that moment, you know it's coming, but it doesn't take away from it. And I think it's the same thing with Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. You like, knowing things in advance doesn't necessarily take away from it, because the episodes aren't. It's not just about that point or that moment, which is a big problem. Modern Star Trek or modern shows, a lot of modern shows in general have. It kind of became that point with Game of Thrones for a while as well. Like once you knew a certain reveal, then well, the build up to it was kind of gone.
Yeah. Yeah, here it's all about character
It
development.
is. It really is. And you're not going to miss anything, even if you know this character dies or what happens to this character or what have you. Like, the story being told is what's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's
Uh, and the best shows that do this, like this show, they make their characters do the decisions they give their characters to make are always logical for that character. They're never forcing a character to do something that that character wouldn't do for the sake of story or just to move something else along. There can be plot conveniences and just conveniences in general
yeah,
in any story, but
it's a
and
show.
like great timing and all this stuff. Like the best moment was and it's really great, like the whole thing where they're in the desert and the truck is flipping behind him, and there's another one, where he's getting shut up. I mean, it's a miracle he didn't get killed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the fact that none of these guys like target him, take him out. They're distracted by Mike shooting and all that. It's, they put these characters in situations where like sometimes the timing is like just right.
Mm.
But even then, it's like it's so well done. Uh,
It's so well done and it's very believable, right?
yeah, it has verisimilitude.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
They, so so Hale talked about that. We did a conversation, that's another Starfleet Boy episode, and he was still talking about the word verisimilitude.
Yeah. So both looking forward to season 6.
Absolutely.
Let's just end it on like just a few quick predictions.
Okay.
So what do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen with Gene?
I don't know what's gonna happen to Gene. I legitimately don't know if he's gonna have a sort of happy ending where he finally manages to shake this life off, or if it's gonna be something as insane as he's dragged back to Albuquerque. Like there's a situation where the cartel catches up to him or something. I do think we're gonna get a lot more. I predict like an episode that takes
Okay,
place in what, the future basically, or the after the Breaking Bad.
the present basically.
Yeah, the present. I predict an entire episode. I think something like we're gonna see a lot more. I don't know if they're gonna keep it black and white or they might just fade
No,
into.
they got to keep it black and white. They got to.
Well,
Or
The Walking Dead
they
did
may.
an entire black and white episode, so um,
You know what would be interesting if they did a Gene flash forward every episode for the last season.
yeah, that would work. It would. Um, because these I'm not like Arrow used to do flash forward things every episode. It got really fucking old. Real quick, but these ones worked really well. I,
I
I,
mean,
I would like to. I would. My personal dream is that somehow he finds himself going to Alaska. Like he connects. So he finds a way to. Like he learns that Jesse went to Alaska, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go see him because I need a friend." And these guys, they can you know live out their
yeah,
lives. At least
they didn't really end on the best terms.
no, but at least they have someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's I can almost picture like fucking Saul in Alaska at the end of the series.
He just rolls up
But I have another
out the
prediction.
driveway, and Jesse's like, "Bitch." Yeah, what's your prediction?
I think Gene is gonna die. He's gonna get shot.
Oh, okay.
He's
Oh,
gonna fuck with that guy. The guy's gonna be like just a guy, and he's gonna defend himself, and he's gonna kill Jimmy,
Or
and
he's
and
gonna stab
and
him.
it, and
This is
and
gonna
it'll
be
end.
the most unclimactic way.
Yeah, and fans will be no okay. Maybe Jimmy will be walking along and just cuts to black credits. Don't stop.
Oh my god, I don't know.
But I think Kim's gonna survive. I don't think Kim's gonna. I think Lalo is gonna survive because he's
Well,
mentioned.
yeah. So Lalo's probably in Mexico, but he's not able to cross the border for some reason. I think
I
Lalo's
don't
gonna kill Nacho.
I think yeah, Lalo's going after Fring. He's going after all of them. Really, he's going after. He's probably going to
Well,
want to get.
he's not gonna kill Fring, but I think he will. I think they are gonna kill Nacho.
He's going to go out. He's going to attempt it. But I think there's going to be some kind of. There has
Nacho's
to.
father's gonna die, right?
Perhaps there's going to be the introduction of another antagonist that's going to kind of neutralize the situation.
I would
Because
like that.
if Lalo does survive, then he doesn't get killed. But I would really hate if Nacho and his dad died. That would really suck. I want them to escape.
What if something like really unexpected, like, do you think Howard will get involved with this situation, the cartel situation? These plot lines are going to kind of like cross over to each other, or not at all? Howard's a thing on the side, and that's not going to get involved with the cartel at all.
Like, yeah, we talked about a bit about earlier how, or I said how I think Kim's gonna go after Howard, like, and
Mm.
realize, oh no, I fucked up. Confess to Howard. Howard's like, my God, Kim, my God, Kim, what's wrong with you? Come work at HHM. Uh,
He's just hiring people all the time.
Schweikert and Coakley aren't doing you justice. Um,
The cartel isn't doing you justice.
but I think, uh, what would be fucked up if they got together. Okay, Jimmy and Kim get divorced, like that's over halfway toward in the season or something, or toward the end, and then Lalo or someone Lalo hires seeks out Kim, and then Howard gets killed in the process. Kim survives, but Howard dies.
I feel like that's a probability. I think that Howard is somehow going to get caught in the crossfire of all of this situation.
Yeah.
Like he's the one guy that shouldn't get killed, and he will.
Or it could turn. Yeah, you could make it even to drive the point home. Uh, Nacho. Oh no, not even Nacho survives, but his dad dies.
Mm.
Basically the only people who really the big deaths are going to be Nacho's dad and Howard, and they're basically going to be like the innocents are the ones who suffer, and the shitty people get to live on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is a
Uh,
very Breaking Bad kind of Better Call Saul thing to do, isn't it?
mm. And then at the end they're going to play Baby Blue, and I don't know, but I don't know what's going to happen to Gene Takovic. That's almost more interesting than because that's the sequel stuff. You know what I mean? That's not the
Yes.
prequel stuff. That's the sequel stuff. That's the stuff we have no idea
Is
how.
that happening after El Camino? Yeah,
Maybe
technically it is.
maybe he goes to Kim if she's still alive as Jean like years later, and she's like got married and got kids, and I don't know. Fuck that. No, that would be stupid.
Oh, that would be horrible if he
No, no, no.
yeah, driving by the house, he sees Kim with her new husband and kids, and he's just looking out the window.
Yeah,
Cut to
yeah. It's Christmas and they're under a mistletoe, and the kids are playing in the snow.
the classic Christmas thing.
And he's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah."
That sounded like Mike, not Bob, not Saul.
Oh, one more moment in the show that was one of the highlights is when he punches out that guy for saying it had to be done. When he talks about killing Werner,
Yeah, that was
and
great.
then
That was
and
awesome.
then
I loved the distribution of the phones, and you got to take, not the phones, the plane tickets, and
yeah,
you got to take this car, you got to take this car, and it's like it's so calculated. This character is going alone because he's a fucking hassle. This
mhm,
character, these two can go together, and when you look at it, it's like there's the guy that gets punched because he's a dick, and he's taking his car alone, and the other guy as well. The other guy that talked up, he talked shit. He's taking his car alone as well. And the other ones, they can go as a pair because they're
But
fine.
but the fact that Mike punches that guy out for saying that it had to be done,
It,
and then the other guy says he was 5 times or whatever the man you were, and Mike's in Mike's head he's like, "Yup, you're right. I was wrong. I killed him." Like I think Mike was genuinely he was friends with that guy, right? Like in the
yeah,
last season,
I think
that
so.
was one. Actually, that was one of the highlights of last season was the crew,
Their relationship.
and Mike's relationship with Werner, and they actually really built that up so that you really feel Mike's guilt in this season, right?
Yeah, yeah. He was working about that. I guess that's what leads into the moment where he snaps. He gets beat up by those. Well, he tries to fight
Well,
the
he
human.
snaps at his daughter. He's always out there. He's intentionally walking by these guys who know are going to cause him trouble. He's basically looking for a fight. And then, of course, when he gets stabbed, he goes to Mexico and all this. And Gus is like, "Work for me." And at that point, he goes back and he's like, "I'm all right now." And it's like like you said, that great line. I'm playing the cards I was dealt,
Yeah,
and
it feels like such a deep life lesson, doesn't it?
yeah, it's like there's no way out, and that's the dark. That's the
Kind of
dark
accept your fate.
darkness of it.
Try to make the most of the fate that you have, right?
Yeah,
You
just
won't
value.
you won't be able to get out of it, so might as well make the money and give the money to your granddaughter, I
Mm.
guess.
And watching Better Call Saul and Mike's journey, it makes it all the more emotional that in that scene in Breaking Bad when he has to get the fuck out of there and he looks at his granddaughter for the last time
Hmm.
and he has to leave her there.
Hmm.
I'm not understanding the aging of the kid because that logically doesn't. I don't. I got to go back and look because it doesn't.
I've got to watch the whole thing through, right? I've got to watch well Better Call Saul and then all Breaking Bad and El
Yeah.
Camino. We'll see if the kid ages better than Todd.
And in all reality, there's been 5 seasons, and I think only 2.5 years have gone by, or something like that. Maybe something like that.
Really? What a city! So much happens in Albuquerque.
The Better Call Saul timeline. Hold on. It goes from 2002 to 2004. Seasons one, two,
Hmm.
and three take place in 2002, and a part of season three takes place in 2003, and season four in 2003, and then some of season four takes place in 2004, and from spring to the beginning of summer of 2004 is all of season five. In fact, season five covers the shortest amount of time since the first 2 seasons.
Hmm.
Like it's more condensed. Seasons three and four, actually, season four covers a whole year. It almost covers like an because he's not a lawyer for it. He has to be disbarred or suspended for a year, right? And season three is the third longest season in terms of time span. So it's interesting how they're doing it. It's like because season six is going to be the last. There's a 4 year gap between that and Breaking Bad. Are they going to cover 4 years on top of the fact that they have to do the gene flash forward? So
No,
I think
they're probably gonna leave a gap between like the two shows, right?
yeah, like
There's like
maybe
the 2 or 3 years that you don't know about that happens between
yeah,
the two shows, which I suppose like once everything is settled into place, um, Gus has his operation up and running, or maybe not yet. Maybe during those years he gets his operation up and running, and Soul just kind of grows as a lawyer.
yeah. Season five will probably end, or not season five. Season six will probably end in 2006. So like there will be a 2 year gap,
Hmm.
something like that. Yeah. So I think we're gonna wrap it up there, Sean, because we've been talking for almost an hour and a half about.
Well, you're gonna cut it down to 15 minutes, aren't you? So.
I'm gonna cut it down to about 20 minutes. No. No, well, 90% of what we talked about was relevant
Yeah, for the
to
most.
Better Call Saul. It's a great show. Uh, it's going to be a while, I think, until we're going to get the next season. Probably like 2022.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's delayed as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Everything.
and they probably would have taken their time with it anyway. And who know? I can't quite remember. I don't really know if when they were going to shoot it because they took a while to shoot season 5. I mean,
It feels like it's been a long time since like the since before the season came out. It felt like a long time between seasons. Yeah,
yeah.
I
So,
can't wait. I
yeah,
can't wait. I love the show
yeah,
so much, and I love that I love that they drop it weekly. That they don't just dump it all. I like watching it week to week. It really
yeah.
takes me
Season They've all come out consecutive years except for the gap between seasons 4 and 5. There was a 2 year gap.
there. Okay.
So like season one, 2015, season two, 16, season three, 2017, and then season four was 2018, and then we got the latest season 2020. So
Mm,
it'll probably be a two. I hate to say it, maybe 3 year gap.
hot
They
damn.
might want to really work on this and like make it the best thing they can.
Well, I think that now, maybe in the first seasons there were a few doubts, but I think that fans of Breaking Bad have really warmed up to the show in general now, and I think that everyone likes Better Call Saul. There's probably a lot of people out there that still prefer Breaking Bad, um, but but Better Call Saul is going to outlive the it's just a prequel or it's just a spin-off status, right? It's its own thing now.
Yeah,
Um, and it's got its fan base, and so they can, if they really work to make it the best they can, it's all good news.
I agree. And on that note, we're going to end this discussion. And I want to thank you, Sean, for joining me. And anybody has any thoughts, leave them below in the comments. Especially you, Starfleet boy. I know you've listened to this whole thing until the very end.
Thank you so much for having me on. I've been wanting to
Thank
talk
you.
about this show for since forever now.
Yeah, I've been itching to talk about it with somebody because uh, it is kind of a niche show. I don't think a hell of a lot of people watch it, and I think it will become kind of like a cult thing after it's all said and done. Both this and Breaking Bad together will be this kind of thing that people discover later on and probably actually watch Better Call Saul first and not want to be spoiled for Breaking Bad and then watch. It would be. It's almost like with the
But
Star Wars prequels, how a lot of people grew up on the prequels and then watched the originals as sequels to those things.
mm,
Yeah.
well, they had to work, and yeah. Anyway, that's a whole other thing, didn't it?
Yeah. 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 All right. Well, we're gonna end it right there. And I was gonna say, live long and prosper. Damn it.
Not really. Well, there's no agreed upon goodbye in the Breaking Bad universe, is there?
Fuck it. Live long and prosper. They talked about Star Trek in Breaking Bad. Remember that whole conversation
I think every show at some point has a reference to Star Trek.
about transporting guts? Remember that?
I don't remember that.
It's a Skinny Pete and Badger have this se- this stoner this meth induced conversation about how like you've got to beam the gut. Yeah, Scotty accidentally beamed somebody's guts out or something like that. I don't know.
Holy
I'm
shit.
I'm tired now. I'm just rambling. Yeah, we're gonna leave it there. Peace out, folks, and fuck it. Live long and prosper.
All right. See ya. Live long and prosper.